Hello and welcome to the June Internationals Round 3 preview brought to you by DrivingMaul. Hi, I'm Paul, the guy behind DrivingMaul, your best place for rugby opinion and predictions. And joining me this evening is the one, the only, the social media ghost himself, Herman. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine, Paul, but I'm not so sure I'm a ghost anymore. I'm very visible for being a ghost lately. But I'm soon going to go hiding with the World Cup in soccer coming up here.
Work calls, eh? Work calls.
Yeah.
I mean, why would you? I mean, it's just fine. You get paid and everything, but it's just money. Anyway,
I'm gonna watch the rugby still. I'm gonna watch the rugby, but I might not be able to watch them all live. But I'm gonna watch it. I'm way too deep into the rugby world to just plug out in a month. I would go cold turkey on rugby. No.
Dear me. This weekend, or this round, it's pretty simple, isn't it? It's let's just record what we owe. Let's just play the recording from last week, and just let it go again. Because hey, it's the same games all over again, nearly. At least most of the Tier 1 ones are anyway. So again, just like last week, we'll go through the Tier 1 games, talk about the players and stuff, and then we will head off and have a quick chat about some of the Tier 2 games. But before we go, don't forget, you can get one of these if you click on the link in the notes.
Opening up on halfway as the All Blacks again counter-attack brilliantly. They must score. That's a great try.
There we go. And wouldn't you want that to open your beer every evening? So there we go. That's my Bottlepop. So click on the link and get one of those for just $20. Hey, Ashwin, Jack, Christian, good to see you all in the live chat. Thank you for joining us. So, Steve Hansen has gone and done exactly what we thought he would do and named the same side again.
Yeah.
How boring. I mean, geez, couldn't he give us something to talk about?
Yeah, that's damn. It's selfish of him, huh? putting us on the spot here in our show. I mean, come on, Shag, give us something to make cook a meal out.
Yep. But so anyway, we talked a couple of things. Obviously, still no Naholo on the wing, which is a bit of a surprise. But I mean, for a winning team, it's not surprised we've got the same lineup. Just to remind everybody, Moody, Taylor, and Franks are in the front row. Sam Whitelock and Scott Barrett in the engine room. And I have to use their first names because their brothers are playing. Squire Kane and Luke Whitelock in the Lucies. Aaron Smith, Bowden Barrett are your halfbacks. And then we have Crotty, Leonard Brown in the midfield with Rico Iwani, Ben Smith and Geordie Barrett as your back three. Pretty much, exactly the same as last time. Ashwin goes and says, "Told you so." Well, there we go. Yeah.
I thought actually it was you, Paul, who was like most of all three of us who were told you so, but we're going to go exactly the same. So
yeah, no,
Ash and I was floating a little bit around with like maybe a midfield change.
Maybe. I mean, we did see Sonny Bill Williams running in training during midweek, but they said he's not ready to come back and actually play yet. Maybe he'll be available back for the third test. So if he is, I'd expect him to come in. But I think we'll probably see a pretty similar game again. Obviously, Bowden Barrett being asked to play that tactical game, kicking game. Do you think they'll try and play as per the second half and pin France back, or do you think they're going to try and contest and try and get the ball from restarts?
It's interesting overall because it seems like if they play like the old school game plan, they pretty much will beat France. That's the way it seems like. But are they only focusing on getting the series win and after that start with some experimenting? Or it seems like actually what they were going for, which short term it's a good call, but will this pay off in the end of the season or long term? I'm not so sure about it, but I can also see where this is coming from because last year they didn't. I think this is the first time since the World Cup Steve Hansen actually been able to pick the same 23. So I can see when he got the chance to do it after a convincing win, he would go for it. So it kind of makes sense from that way because like the ultimate All Black starting 15, it's not like settled in stone really yet, is it?
I think we're pretty close to knowing what he would start. His first choice starting 15 is if the Rugby World Cup was tomorrow. Obviously, there are a couple of players injured, but this isn't far from it. I mean, Sonny Bill Williams, Kieran Reid, and Brady Retallick, and that's pretty much your and Dane Coles, and that's your first choice lineup for the Rugby World Cup if as a starting 15. So no, I think this is pretty close. Barca Pundit thought that Paul was going to preview the Football World Cup tonight. No. There's one person on this show that could preview the Football World Cup, but it's not me, and the other one normally gets paid for it. So I'm not sure he'd do it for free. Anyway, so I think they will play the deep ball game and make France play out of their own territory. Clearly, they found that France were pretty good at defending the restarts, and so hence putting up the contestable ones. Sure, if it's close at the end of the game and they have to score with the last play, then they'll do it. But otherwise, I think they'll be playing deep. Now, the French selection, though, much more interesting.
Yep, 5 changes.
5 changes, and I think we picked 4 of them.
We got 1 wrong. Damn.
So Benjamin Fall comes in at fullback. Obviously missed last week because, in fact, Benjamin Fall, Kellyanne Galitaire, and Matthew Babilot all missed last week because of playing in the top 14 final. They all come in. We have Gail Fiku, who comes in on the wing to replace obviously the injured player with a smashed skull, and we have Bernard Leroux come in on into the engine room, which is the only sort of tactical or a change kind of that we didn't expect to happen.
Yeah, but we should probably, poor call of us, we should have seen coming, because there's one thing that really didn't function in the French team last week. It was the line out. It was disastrous from first to last minute. So, and probably was one of the main reasons also why when the All Blacks put the foot on the throat, they absolutely had nothing, because when we actually tried to manage to get a penalty here and there and get a turnover and try to kick for touch to get the line up, they just lost the ball right away again.
Yep. So we should have seen that one coming. Apart from that, though, it's the same team as we saw last weekend, which shouldn't be too much of a surprise. And that's what France were leading at half time and were good until about 50 minutes when the yellow card happened. So not unsurprisingly, we have pretty much the same players. Clearly, Teddy Thomas showed his pace, but that was mainly in chasing Rico down. Rather than managing to get that space to go forwards. So clearly one of the things that France will be trying to do is create some space for him, because he definitely is dangerous. I think we talked about that last night as something they should be trying to do. Otherwise, I think we'll see pretty much the same game plan as we saw in the first half
you reckon
last weekend.
I was curious to ask you that, because you have deeper knowledge about rugby tactics than me, and if you were the French coach, how would you set them up to at least try to nullify the All Blacks? Would you go the same way, or would you do any tweaks?
You don't want to be playing in your own half, but they didn't have a kicking game really to get them out. So unfortunately, they're going to have to play their way out of their own half by the looks of things, which is always going to be dangerous. And so, do you play Pacific Island-esque? And just run it from everywhere, or barbarian style. And that against an All Blacks defence, that's you're asking for trouble. But then again, if you can't kick any further than your 22, then you're going to be asking for trouble in that sort of sense as well. And so their box kicking is really where they have to step it up. But that's not something you can fix in a week. You can't suddenly become a good box kicker for distance in a week. So. I think they are going to have to play it out of their own 22 a bit more, because if you're passing back into your own in-goal area to do clearance kicks, you're never going to be in this game. And if your tactic is just to hope that the All Blacks give up a penalty so you can get a free exit, then you're in for a very long night. So they're going to have some nice back moves that I say that give particularly Teddy Thomas some space. Benjamin Fall has got to be would probably need to have a big game as well, injecting himself into the line, because that's how you'll find some gaps in the All Blacks defence is with something new, not by running it yourselves. And they're going to have two lines of attack, because if they just try to do a one line attack, it's going to be a very long game.
Indeed. It seems like the French are caught in a catch-22 here almost. Like, well, what are we going to do? I mean, whatever we try, it's going to be a long day in the office for them.
Yeah, and they're going to need everything to come off. But in that first half, they managed to get some of that stuff to come off. Ball retention is going to be important, and a fantastic kick chase. All your typical things that we say about pretty much every game.
Sorry, the connection went badly. You hear me clear?
Yeah, no, you're fine.
Okay. So now I hear you decent again.
So what is your prediction for this one?
Well, I'm not going to be as brave as I was last time, but I guess there should be some improvement from France, because we tried to play the All Blacks. I mean, the room for improvement is bigger in the French side than it is for the All Blacks, even if I think the All Blacks also will look at to do some improvements. So I will go All Blacks by 19 points.
Oh, well, I've got All Blacks by 10. I think there's plenty of improvements. I think there's plenty that the French can take away from that game. I think they'll have plenty of motivation in the fact they're feeling hard done by the Cards, and I think they will bring their A game. But still, I think they're not going to be able to to keep it any closer than that.
You have referee. We should maybe have a word on. Is it Angus Gardner? Is the one? What do you reckon? Is that good for New Zealand or good for France?
I think it's good for New Zealand on the fact that they actually know him, so I think I forgot which country he's an Australian, isn't he? Angus Gardner.
Yeah.
So he's someone the players will have had refereed them several times, so they know his interpretations. So from that point of view, it's going to be again advantage All Blacks, because they just know how they'll know how he calls the game.
Yeah. Only difference, he's very keen on using the TMO, that I know from the Super Rugby.
Yeah.
He checks everything. So
we've got to get it right then. We then head over to Australia, to Melbourne, for Australia versus Ireland. And just like New Zealand, for the first time since 2015, have named an unchanged side, Australia, for the first time ever under Czech, have named an unchanged side.
Yeah, amazing. But who can fault him? That was probably. Yeah, I know they beat the All Blacks last year in the third Bledisloe, but I would still say not for 80 minutes, but for at least for a long period. That was probably the best, at least with the forward pack. That was the best forward pack performance I've seen from the Wallabies since Chica took over. Maybe Wales after World Cup, because we cannot forget how when we beat Wales and played 13 men with 10 minutes almost. But since so make total sense, and their backline is it picks itself almost.
It does. Just I guess one of the big things that's going to be that people talk about being different is going to be the weather. So looking at the Melbourne forecast. At 7 p.m, which will be actually that's probably just before kickoff time. They're around 40% chance of rain, so there's a fair chance of showers during this one. It doesn't look like it's going to be a heavy downpour, but it's still probably going to be a wet game, which would be advantage Ireland, surely.
Well, yeah, I mean it rains more in Ireland than it does in Australia, but I don't know, because with at least with a regular Ireland game plan with a lot of box kicking and so on, and challenge the kick and try to pick them, that's not easy at all to do in the rain if they're going to try. I mean, they could be fishing for knock-ons from the Wallabies, but if you plan to catch any of these balls himself, it's going to be just as hard for himself to do it. So, I mean, basically, I think these sides are pretty even too. I mean, if you have two sides that are not that even, then the rain can be a little bit of a leveler. But when it's two very even match sides, I don't see the rain as like making like a huge change to it, really. That's my opinion, at least.
I think it'll suit a kicking style by Ireland because, as you say, it kind of negates Israel Folau a little bit, and the fact that can he still do his normal catching a bit straight above his head, and that kind of thing. Just by the way, I'm taking a little bit of flack in the chat because in the live chat we're discussing referees, and I've suggested that Wayne Barnes is perhaps one of the best referees in the world, and they're not. And New Zealand Crown doesn't agree with me. I don't know why. Geez, they have long memories, don't they? Because he has been one. He is definitely up there with Nigel Owens as being one of the best referees in the world nowadays. So, and quite a lot of people actually say he's better than Nigel at the moment, and that Nigel gets too involved with the banter nowadays. But
Nigel runs his own show a little bit, and it seems like he has his own law book sometimes too when he do referee. Like he's very good. I mean, he's good at game management. His games usually flow pretty well, but
anyway.
If it's fair, I don't know. He's not refereeing this game anyhow.
No, he's not.
He's on the line. I think he's on the line in Tokyo, in Japan, between Italy and Japan.
So anyway, so I expect this one to be wet. I think that'll suit a Conor Murray, Johnny Sexton kicking game, and negate some of Beale's kind of play and passing. I think so. I think it's good for Ireland, an Ireland team that we recognise a lot more than last week.
Yeah, no, they really ring the changes this time. 8 changes.
So let's just run through Ty Furlong, Kane Healy, Niles Scannell, Ty Furlong. At least the props there you'll recognise a lot more. Devon Toner, James Ryan in the locks, as you'd expect, or as again that's a much more recognised pairing. Peter O'Mahony, Dan Levy, and CJ Stander is pretty much a first choice back three. Lucy's. Conor Murray, Johnny Sexton, then Henshaw, Ringrose in the centres, Keith Earls, Conway, and Rob Kearney at fullback. It's much more recognisable Irish side this week. A little bit surprised to see Conway in there.
Yes, and especially Stockdale, who's been on fire pretty much since he started wearing the green jersey. He wasn't putting the world on fire last week, but to get not even in the 23, that can seem a little bit harsh, I think. Yeah,
it should. And maybe it's more, again, this depth thing that we've been talking about last week that we're actually seeing here. It's ringing those changes. So we should see a much better performance from Ireland. Not so one-dimensional as we saw last week. I expect it to be much more functioning this week, and it was far too one-dimensional last week. Now, so with that in mind, I've gone with Ireland by 5 because of the weather. Are you backing the Wallabies to go 2-0, or do you think this is evened up?
I want to talk a little bit more about the Irish squad because we have about the changes to the Irish squad. I mean, one of the key changes for me is Dan Levy, and number 7, who has been one of the stand-up performers in Irish rugby the last year. And he is not like Pocock when it comes to the breakdown and doing the pilfering, but he's almost up there. So I'm expecting like a giant battle here because Ireland really didn't have anyone who can go one-on-one with Pocock, but this guy probably has to. But we'll see, basically, because now he's going to go up against the best one in the world, and let's see if he is that good. But he and James Ryan have been like the big explanation marks in Irish rugby this year. And James Ryan, even if he lost last week, he didn't disappoint at all. He showed that he was all class. So we'll see if Dan Levy is the real deal too. He's been all season, so that could make a huge change for him. And obviously also Gary Ringrose will bring a lot more X factor to the Irish midfield. And because last week it was crash and bash. That's all we could. That was pretty much all we can do. Now we have someone who have a lot more strings on his guitar.
Yeah,
and can play.
Getting to that breakdown and clearing out is going to be a key thing, and because if you allow Pocock in particular, but also in conjunction with players like Hooper and some of the others, then you're going to have a long day. Especially anyone who gets even remotely isolated is going to lose that ball. So getting to that breakdown quick and winning that breakdown is going to be a key thing for Ireland. They're not an offloading side, so especially in the weather we're expecting. That's not their style of play. Their style of play is to have quick ball at the rucks. So if you can slow that down, they're unlikely to offload and go and cut through you in that style from them. So that is going to be of key importance.
Yeah, and we have a double cover on this department too. With it, we will see a debutant in the Irish side too from the bench. It's Taj Burney, who played for Scarlets all this season. So that's why we haven't. He's been on playing performance he'd been qualifying for a long time for the Irish squad, but Ireland, like New Zealand, they don't only pick players when they play in Irish teams. But he has signed for Munster for next year, so they have picked him now. And he was the top pilfer in the Pro 14 this season. 37 pilfers in 21 games.
Well,
so he knows his stuff.
Ireland's rules on that are not as clear cut as New Zealand. New Zealand are very definite. Once you go, you go. Ireland, though, for players such as Johnny Sexton, when he played for Racing, they went. So
and I heard
they do have the odd.
Sorry,
they do have the odd exception, but they are few and far between.
Yeah, but that's only. I heard an interview with Brian O'Driscoll. We asked him what Irish players would they pick if he even played in the Premiership and or the top 14. And he says Johnny Sexton, Conor Murray or Taj Furlong. He said those three they would still pick because they are at such a high level, but there's no one else. They are pretty strict otherwise.
Yep.
But fair to the Irish, all these players playing in Ireland right now. So, but Taj Burney, I'm telling everyone, keep an eye on him because he's a 6'6" lock who plays really good in the Lucy too. But even as a lock, he's a super pilfer, So he love the breakdown work. So it could be very interesting. So they have some fire to fight the Pocock fire with it this time around.
Yep. So okay, I went Ireland by 5.
Yeah, my prediction. I will go. I think it's still going to be a real arm wrestle, especially if it's a little bit wet in that regard. So yeah, I go Ireland by 2 points.
Oh, by 2 points. Wow, going to be a close one there. Then South Africa versus England. I think we're pretty much expecting the same Springbok side again. We're not expecting many changes.
No, it could be a change in the front row. Now I forget. God damn sorry. I should have done my research here. But there's one of the props in South Africa who has a pretty big niggle. So we're talking about changing him, but that's probably going to be the only change because I guess we're going to go exactly the same way as Wallabies and the All Blacks. They're going to try. Let the winning side give him another run out. I mean, I could see Peter Steptoe maybe coming in, but Rhys Snyman did a really, really good debut, so I think, he will continue. So, but Mostert, he was good. No, when thinking about it, it's highly unlikely with a change.
So Wilco Lowe, you think might be the injured player at prop? So he might be the guy that misses out.
And then it's Andy van der Merwe. Is he the one who can?
Maybe. So they had, they had. Well, van der Merwe they had is the hooker. So Thomas du Toit and Kitsoff were the two that.
Kitsoff seems because he's actually been really good all season in Super Rugby too.
So
one of the few players who've been performing in the Stormers this season.
So we can see them. For an English point of view, Launchbury is apparently supposed to be fit, so he'll come back into the side in the gone blank in the number 5 jersey to go next to Itoji.
Isekwe, who will be out.
Yep, Isekwe will probably, and there's a fair chance he might drop entirely out of the straight out of the entire 23. Match day 23. Yep.
Henry Williams might come in instead of Sinclair. Sinclair wasn't that flash.
Yeah, we might see Harry Williams come in for Sinclair. Sinclair's actually is a very good impact sub because
as makes more sense.
Impact players, he's a good player to come off the bench. Arshwin said, I was half asleep this morning. Did I hear Brad Shields in the second row? If Launchbury is not fit, yes.
Yes.
But with Launchbury being fit, that's not going to happen.
But Ashton is gonna see his favorite English player, because the big rumor mill is that they're gonna drop Chris Robshaw for this one and play Brad Shields instead at number 6.
Yep. So, but we are expecting he's come on at number 6, but not in the row. So yeah, apart from that, I think that's going to be. I think otherwise, I don't see that England will be making any changes because people would say, "Oh, well, will Denny Solomona come on for Mike Brown?" And you're like, "Well, no. Eddie Jones likes to play a fast wing and a work rate wing. Denny Solomona is not a work rate wing, and he's not faster than Johnny May, so he's not. So Johnny May will start, but." And I think Brown will.
I'm not 100% sure because the one thing that Mike Brown was found out about, and he can't change that even with the weeks of the perfect training. He lacks speed, and South Africa, as we have 2 Usain Bolts on the wings. So I could see that the thinking behind that, but he realized he needs 2 rockets on the wings too, because
maybe we'll see. I
can see the thinking behind it at least.
I can see why, but I don't think he will. That's not kind of Eddie Jones's style to do that. So apart from that, I expect we'll probably see something pretty similar from England. With Launchbury there, they've got a better chance of getting some front football, which is what George Ford needs. George Ford is not a fly. All fly halves love front football rather than going backwards, obviously. But some cope with it better than others. George Ford is not a good back foot player. He needs that front foot ball. He needs a strong pack in front of him. So hopefully we will see that for him. Obviously, trying to keep Mako Vunipola on the pitch is always a good start. As well, and there has been also talk actually of dropping Henry Slade for Lazowski. I probably would bring Lazowski onto the bench and drop Piers Francis. I don't understand why Prince Francis is on the bench. Decent club player. I've watched him for a couple of seasons at the Blues, but he's not an international level player. I'm sorry.
Yes, I totally agree with you. But I think what could be for England here, because with Launchbury back and also we put in Brad Shields back, I think that also will. And to be fair, I thought Tom Curry actually looked pretty good in his debut at number 7. So he will get another shot. I think with a more settled and probably a little bit more faster English pack. I mean, that could also, because none of us were impressed with Itoje or Billy Vunipola's performance in the first test, but also just by upping the quality of the players around them might help them too a little bit too.
Yeah,
it seems like Itoje seems like a little bit lost. It seems like he's trying to do a little bit too much, and nothing is get good for him anymore.
And I think he's also trying to do a little bit too much of the dark arts now. Yes, he's been a niggly player who kind of holds players down or grabs an ankle out, someone's ankle out the bottom of a ruck and trying to make it so people can't see it. But I found him laying on players way too long after the ball had gone and things like that at times, which I thought just get up and play. Stop trying to just stop their player being in play. You're too good for that.
But I also reckon his target now because he's such a high profile and have performed on a very high level. He for sure is one of the players the other team have in the team meetings. One player they want to take out of the game because when he's in the zone, it told you he really affects games. He really affects games. So if you can take him out and make him focus on dark arts and niggling, that's a lot of one for your own team then.
Yep. Good point by Math74 in the live chat. Johnny May does a lot of work improved off the ball. He has improved a lot off the ball, and we saw that particularly against Argentina a couple of years ago now, where Daly got red carded early on, and Johnny May basically defended both wings in that game with his pace and with his work rate. So yes, he has improved a lot, but he's still more a pacey winger than a Jack Nowell work rate winger, even though he has improved that. The Austrian Shields was never going to be an All Black. That was Steve blowing smoke. That was Steve. That was Steve Hansen trying to get him capped once and tied to New Zealand, so he couldn't go play for England, and that's why Brad Shields turned him down in November last year. So obviously, both sides defensively want to improve this game.
Very much so.
Whilst wanting to obviously score as many points as they did last time. Do you expect such a high-scoring affair again, or do you think it's going to be a bit tighter this time?
It's going to be a little bit more low-scoring, but I don't expect it to be an arm wrestle. No. Because England's backline, as soon as we got the ball, they look lethal. Which is, we talked about this on Monday, I think, which is very surprising that we're talking about an English team that really struggles in the forward pack, but we have a backline that is on fire. Yeah. So, I would probably go something like 32-28 scoreline, something like that.
So which way?
I think England will get it this time.
Yeah, I've got England by 3 as well. So I think it's going to be a close game again. But I think England will sneak this one. At the end of the day, it was only a 3-point loss to England. They got the yellow card. They made a lot of mistakes. They can clear those up. I think a lot of the South African mistakes are players learning the game. Obviously, with those two very inexperienced wings who are fast and lethal with ball in hand. But there's definitely opportunities to take advantage of them defensively. And I think that's going to be... I'm going to... I'm going to back England for this one, but but again, in a tight one. Argentina Wales is the basically is another rematch from last weekend. We don't have the squads for this yet, but I guess from an Argentinian point of view, there's got to be concern that Sanchez went off at half time.
Yes, it is. It's got to be, and because they don't have anyone remotely close to his quality. But I've been following a little bit the Argentina rugby media this week. It hasn't really been any big talk that he's like injured and out. So I reckon he's going to start. So I think it was more that not so popular Argentinian coach Daniel Hurcade was more trying now let's give another guy a shot here at the 10 in the middle of a test that we're about to lose. So, but I expect Nicolas Sanchez to start. I actually expect the Argentinian side to be very similar to one. Yeah, I think Paulo Matera probably injured himself, so he cannot play. He will probably be out of this one.
The
Jaguars captain, Pumas captain.
So a quick look up through the lineups to remind myself. That's right. Palmatero went off injured. I'm trying to think anyone else went off injured or not. I can't remember anyone else disappearing off injured. So that would presumably bring Thomas Lesnar would actually get a start then, rather than coming off the bench. For Wales, it's anybody's guess really. Will he go with the same players, or will he try to switch things around and give some more people some experience? What is Gatland after? Is Gatland after giving creating depth and creating experience, or is he actually after the wins here?
I think he's after the win. He wants a serious win. It would be like because the Wales season would look pretty good if we get a win here.
So you're expecting the same team to start again?
No, I think they're going to make maybe 2 or 3 changes, but I'm not sure exactly. But he's probably going to go for what he expects is his best 23 on the tour, because he pretty much give every guy a shot in the first 2 games. So now he's basically going to pick what he thinks has been the best 23 performance.
And so this will be the last game of the
last game of the season. So they want to go out. They want to go out with a bang for sure.
So so hopefully, on that note, then, how do you expect this game to go? I expect Wales again to be obviously defensively solid, and to test. And Argentina are going to have to unlock them. They're not going to be able to bash through them as we saw last weekend. Unfortunately, we didn't see anything last weekend that would suggest they could unlock them. But we know that Argentina have got the players to do that if they on their day. So I expect that, and then I also expect players, if they do have players like Helen Amos, Josh Adams. These guys do have. George North, obviously. These guys have got the have got the pace to create a good some good backline moves, but from Wales as well. So it should be a high quality game if Argentina can get their act together.
Yes, but I'm certainly not going to put any money on this one, because I still think like if you get the Jaguars out there, I mean it's the same team, but if you get the Jaguars out there with their mentality and their game plan, I would back them to beat this Wales side every day, you know. But now we have what it appears more and more to be a national team coach in Daniel Alcade, who is about losing the plot, and it doesn't seem to play or plays for him. And I think they have 18 straight losses against Tier 1 opposition now. I mean, isn't it maybe time to change the coach here? I'm not like Spain did in the World Cup of Soccer. I kicked the coach 2 days before, you know, but when you have 18 straight losses against Tier 1 nation, and you're a Tier 1 nation yourself, I mean, there are many Tier 2 nations who have better records than Argentina has against Tier 1 nations. It's so hard from outside. It's so hard from the outside to see if are this is just my imagination, press rumors, or are the players like clearly, because it's very, very hard to get those last few percent if a player doesn't like the coach, and they're not going to fall, you know, like give a game away, but if you don't give a last few percentage, it's very hard to win. So, but. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's one of those things that consciously they're not going to play worse for him, but it's the emotional side of things. And let's be honest, Argentinian players have historically been very emotionally driven. Their win in South Africa the other year was where they had the I think the entire squad or everyone who was still alive from the first game of that the Jaguars ever played in South Africa turn up and kind of stuff like that. They played their socks off and got a fantastic win. They are a team that definitely do play on their emotions, and so having a coach you want to play for makes a massive difference. But I wouldn't want to rush Mario Ledesma in as the national head coach after half a season as a head coach in Super Rugby. I would want to bring him in after the Rugby World Cup personally, and bring him in and say, right, you've got 4 years up to the next Rugby World Cup, rather than here last minute into Rugby World Cup fail. Well, we've got to get rid of you now. No, I think that was.
I agree with that. I agree with, but when you have a situation like they do, when they have won the only 3 test games they won since the World Cup, maybe finished 4th. You know, they beat Georgia, Italy, and is it United States? I mean, that's not impressive. I mean.
No, it's not. Maybe maybe let Ledesma in as a forwards coach rather than necessarily as the head coach to get the players to play for him.
I think that's. I mean, the Argentinian rugby fans I know, they all of them want Hurkacz to go. I mean, they are like kick him out because his record is just too poor, been for too long time. And I totally buy your thing that Ledesma, if he should take the top job, he should get like a fair chance, start with it fresh in the beginning of a World Cup cycle, not take over in the end. But, you know, when things go sideways, even the decisions usually are not like the not perfectly thought through one. No, not the best. You take him on the volley a little bit more than.
Well, maybe so. Anyway, so I'm backing Wales by 3 in this one. We're talking future things for Argentina rather than what's going to happen this weekend. So what do you think?
But they still can't play that stupid again. So I'm gonna go Pumas free with winning with 3 in the end, because could see some fatigue from the Wales. It's been a very tough tour for Wales also, you know, with a lot of traveling. So, and a long season. So I back the Pumas to get over the line. It's not going to be pretty.
Wow. Okay. They will. So now we're into sort of the tier 2 games. So running in chronological order. The first game of the weekend is actually Tonga versus Samoa. Both these sides lost last weekend. Samoa,
but with great comebacks, both teams made great comebacks in the last 20 minutes. So maybe, but they still lost both of them. But it looked like blow-ups. Looked like blow-up scores actually ended up only being a 2-point loss and a 1-point loss.
Yeah, there was very tight games in both of those ones. Still, I think Tonga are the better side. They're the ones that have made it to the Rugby World Cup already. Samoa still are trying to get there. Samoa have had all sorts of being messed around because of the European jokes of not knowing who you can and can't play, etc. So Tonga have had a much more settled lead up into this. I'm backing Tonga to win this one by 3.
Okay, I'm gonna be really brave. I'm gonna call. It's gonna be a draw. We're gonna get a draw. Yeah. Because I don't see anything between these two teams really.
No, I agree. They're very, very close, which is why I've gone by 3 points. So it's a bounce of the ball either way. Could change it. Then we have Fiji versus Georgia. Both these sides won last weekend against the previous two teams we've talked about. Georgia came down to the Pacific Islands 2 years ago and didn't lose a game. They won 2 and drew 1 from memory. Both these sides obviously at the Rugby World Cup next year, already qualified, settled run into
in
this.
the same group.
In the same group. Oh, and in the same group. Oh dear, I need to remember my groups. So this has actually got something really actually riding on it then, because this is a preview before to next year.
Yeah.
I didn't see the games last weekend. You clearly did.
I did.
So which way are you going to go with that experience? And have you seen them?
Well, with that experience, but also because Fiji have got some serious reinforcements for this game too. So I'm going to go Fiji with probably 10, 14 points, because first we have the NRL player who play in Toulon now. He's going to make his debut. He also plays 7th for Fiji. Rada. What is his name? Please help me.
Not
Sami.
not the pain train.
Nadolo is back too on the wing. The pain train is back too.
No. Pain train is in it was the guy who went to play American football and came back and played. Sorry, that's someone else. Anyway,
Semi Radradra. He's the one, the NRL star.
Jared Payne was the NRL star I was thinking of, but no, it's a different player.
He was the one who blew England off the park when he played for Barbarians.
Oh, Sami Radradra, 13 at the outside centre. Okay.
And Nadolo is back too. So that's what I would say, proper reinforcements to put in the back line. And everyone talking about the big Georgians, but it almost feels like the Fijian back line is even bigger than the Georgian forwards than this one.
Well,
these are big boys.
I've gone Fiji by 3 because both having close games last weekend. I thought this one would probably be close as well. I think it will be.
But Fiji played stupid. They gave away 3 yellow cards. They were 24-3 up in that game too. I think just like England, and they just stopped playing. And this time, but if they focused, if Fiji put in an 80-minute performance with these guys, we're gonna blow Georgia off the park.
And if buts and maybes, yep, sure.
Well, okay, Fiji gonna blow Georgia off the park. I'm telling you, folks, it's gonna be at least 14-point win for Fiji.
Then we head up
and
to.
I like the big-haired Georgians. I have a soft spot for them, but this time it's not gonna help them.
So Japan versus Italy. You were very impressed by this game last weekend.
I was. It was very, very high quality, and I haven't seen the Italian lineup yet, but I've seen the Japanese one. They picked the squad, and they only made one change, and which is a little bit of a surprise, but it's long. They actually put Mafi on the bench, and Jamie Joseph explained this because he basically plays every minute for the Melbourne Rebels, so they want to use him as and he also got a little bit niggled on his ankle in the first game too. So. And it's a decent impact player to have too. To put in the last 30 minutes. So.
He's a fantastic impact player, a player that they in a similar kind of way to Italy with Paresi, a player you don't want to end up having to sort of relying on the entire time. So you want to learn how to play without him as well. So it makes sense to rotate him. Out.
Yeah, the back row in Japan it's not only Mafi, because everyone knows we have Michael Leach, who's a very solid operator, and we have Kazuki Himeno, who is probably like the biggest the biggest forward talent in Japanese rugby, who's been awesome all season in Super Rugby. He was the rookie he's a young player too. He was rookie of the year in the top 4 in the what do they call their league? It's the top league, we call it in Japan. And it's been great. And the one we're going to replace Mafi is Yoshitika Kakanuaga, who is a 7th player. It's also been playing a few games for the Sunwolves too and doing good. So, but apart from that, no changes in the Japanese side.
Apart from that, so I'm back in Japan again. I think they're going to take. I just don't rate Italy, to be honest with you. So I'm back in Japan by 10.
I think we're going to be between
closer.
10. Yeah, it can be a little bit closer. But as I said on the show on Monday, both teams were pretty evenly matched for the whole game. But what really, like, the clear difference is Japan. They knew how to score tries, and they scored some beauties in the first one too. And but I say that is a big advantage where you have playing Super Rugby on a regular basis. These players learn how to execute in a very high tempo, and obviously they get probably a little bit of inspiration from watching their opponents kill them week after week, at least in the beginning of the season. That's how you do it, you know. So, and as we mentioned before too, with Jamie Joseph, Tony Brown, and John Plumtree in the coaches box, we know we have it all in that department.
So then we head over to North America, and
this is your big call for the week. I'm ready for this one.
What, Canada versus Russia?
Next one.
So the first game is Canada versus Russia. Both these teams lost to the USA versus Scotland, who will be playing after this game. Both got beaten quite comfortably. Canada had against the tier 1 opposition, Russia not. I mean, Russia's down in 20th or whatever they are in the world rankings. So even though Canada have been a bit of a basket case recently, I'm still backing Canada to win this one by 5.
I'm with you there.
And I guess this shows if the USA can put over 50 points on Russia, you've really got to worry about them at the Rugby World Cup next year. Sure, I understand that that both Spain and Romania cheated and therefore get thrown out, but Russia really are not ready for this level, and World Rugby needs to throw as much money at their coaching structures and get these guys in camp for the next 14, 15 months solid to have any hope of not being totally embarrassed in Japan, I think.
I reckon Putin can afford to do that. We don't have to bother World Rugby with that. We're both going with Canada by 5. I think there's much more we can say about that one. And then, as you say, one of the more intriguing Tier 2 versus Tier 1 games of this this window, the USA versus Scotland. Now, the USA have never beaten a Tier 1 team, and they really are gunning for that first Tier 1 scalp. Now, with Major League Rugby, all their players, or about half their players, are from Major League Rugby, have had proper conditioning or better conditioning than they've had in the past. So they don't have to hold down full-time jobs anymore. So the players are going to be better conditioned. They are going to be in a better place. Now, they're not going to be in the same sort of place they will be next year after Major League Rugby's been around for a couple of years or 2 years and the years after that, but they're still in a better place than they were last year. They've just beaten Russia by over 50 points, the Cold War enemy. The eagle ripped the bear to pieces. And they're coming up against a Scotland side that, whilst they welcome back Stuart Hogg into the side, this is still not a first-choice Scotland side by any stretch of the imagination. We are missing a couple of greys. We're missing Russell, Laidlaw, Price,
a whole list of players.
Maitland, Hugh Jones,
WP Nell,
Barclay, BP Nell, and it's hardly. It's maybe 2 or 3 of these Scottish players who is in the regular starting 15 tops.
So it is. This is definitely this is very much a second string side. So is this the USA's chance to get that Tier 1 scalp finally?
I see where you're coming from. I think it's super interesting what you say, but also that the players actually all the players actually have been professionals and have been able to prepare for this for the first time, and that, by all accounts, that usually make a huge difference. Maybe it's too early in the process. Maybe you're right, but we should wait to see the big improvements until maybe the next couple of years. But for sure, they will fancy themselves when they see this Scottish lineup and realize this is our chance, you know. And it's last game of the season for the Scottish, you know. Maybe they wish that the Scottish has gone on the drinks already, you know. That could be who knows, the end of the tour. So yeah, I see. I mean, it's still a brave call. But so I know in order to make you shine, because I know where you're going to go with your prediction. I'm going to predict that Scotland going to win this one with 7 points. They're going to still get the job done. But Paul, I know you have different ideas here.
I don't actually. If you listened to my show last night,
you changed.
I did my predictions.
You changed. Yeah.
My prediction last night was Scotland by 7. So I've gone the same way. But yeah, listening to Tony Ridnell, who the ex-USA Eagle that I chat to quite frequently, and he is super pumped about this game. I think realistically he realizes.
Back your friend. Come on, back your friend, Paul. Come on.
No.
Come on. You're not putting any money into this.
These are head. These are proper predictions. This isn't not messing around here, just going willy-nilly throwing ideas out there. I think with if you ask him rationally, he'll say that Scotland still are the big favourites. Pardon me, in this one, and we will. Scotland definitely will go in this as favourites. But the USA will be looking at even getting within 7 points, or getting within a score of Scotland would be a massive win for the USA and Gary Gold, the new head coach. So I think they'll do much better than they have done in previous years. But I think they're still, as you say, I think we're 2-3 years away from Major League Rugby having its real impact, where these guys have had a couple of years of conditioning. Just having 1 year, is still they're still learning what it means to be a professional player. Quite a lot of the guys.
Yeah, man. But still, come on, Paul, back your friend. Come on. So that's what, it was a couple of years ago. I mean, they were pretty close to beat Scotland, the Eagles, in a similar matchup, like in the end of the season. It was like 2013 or 12, something like that. They came awfully close to beat Scotland.
This Scotland side is not the same Scotland side it was 2 or 3 years ago. This Scotland side is much better than it was.
Or maybe it is. The new players are the ones not in the tour.
But
it's improved. You're right.
It's a much improved Scotland side.
They seem to set higher standards for themselves now too, with their coaching stuff. Yeah.
So I'd say Scotland by 7.
And also, I mean, with Hoggy, we have to admit that Stuart Hoggy is a world-class player, and against a tier 2 team that's not spot on, a world-class fullback can have that can be like Christmas rain.
Yes, he could do. But I think this USA side will be well prepared. But yeah, it's still fairly early in Gary Gold's reign as well. So, folks, please hit that like button down below. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new here to the channel. Thank you very much, Herman. You did say prior to the show that we would not go for an hour, so we have only gone for 53 minutes.
You're so good, Paul. We're so good.
So near the hour mark again. Actually, I'm going to say I've had a viewer comment on the show last night that they've been binge watching the All Blacks. What do you call them? Shows, the documentaries on Netflix.
All or Nothing. Yeah.
All or Nothing, and then came across and searched me out on YouTube to come and watch the show as well. So, welcome to the our New Zealand, our American followers who are getting into the game. Yes, good to see you joining us. Thank you so much. Subscribe, like, tell all your friends. Always up for good rugby chats. Do comment down below. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'll leave you with this note.